What's up, guys? Today we have some stuff regarding Saints mandatory minicamp to talk about. We have some updates that include a possible free agent signing as well as some contract issues that we're gonna go over today. Mandatory minicamp hasn't started just yet, at least as of the time I'm recording this. Today, right now, it's Monday night. I'm recording this. I intend to get this out on Tuesday. It's about the time this is uploaded. Mandatory minicamp would have started. It's going to be from Tuesday to Thursday, but like I said, it's mandatory, and Dennis Allen said he expects everyone to show up except probably Michael Thomas. He'd probably show up, but it's been said that he's doubtful to participate. So if you guys are looking for anyone, you're not sure if they're going to be there, they probably will be there. One of the first players I want to go ahead and talk about briefly real quick. This ain't going to be like a super long video or anything, just some updates regarding players, and like I said, a possible free agent signing that we're going to go over in just a minute. But first, we'll talk about Saints wide receiver slash kick returner slash punt returner, Deontay Hardy. As we know, he's a huge part to our special teams, and he was a big wide receiver for us last year. Not big because he's 5'6", but he was key for us last year because we had no wide receivers. He's a free agent. Technically, he's a restricted free agent right now. He signed a restricted free agent tender, a second-round tender, which means since he's a restricted free agent, he's not just available to the open market. We pretty much get first dibs at him. And if a team wants to get him, they're going to have to give up a second-rounder because he signed a second-round tender. So we pretty much have first dibs for him. But he's technically not under contract just yet. That's kind of the problem here that I'm about to go over. Because Deontay Hardy is not signed yet. And since mandatory minicamp's coming up, you see a lot of players that don't attend minicamp or training camp because they're trying to get a contract situated. He's expected to show up to mandatory minicamp according to Saints media sources. I believe Nick Underhill said this. He's expected to show up for mandatory minicamp, but I'm not sure if the sides are 100% on the contract yet. I'm sure a contract will be on the way because Deontay Hardy has been a key part for the Saints' success on special teams as well. And he's been a big part of the offense, and I think he will be this year, even though he's going to be a little bit down on the depth chart since we got Chris Olave and Jarvis Landry and Michael Thomas come back healthy. I still think Jameis Winston, like we all know, Jameis Winston can sling that football, and he's going to try to get it to Deontay Hardy as much as he can, especially last year. We saw how Jameis Winston could sling that football to him. We saw him hit him in stride against the Packers to steal the game. And even against Washington, I know y'all remember that 70-yard bomb touchdown that he had. So this isn't something to be – it's not really a big deal. This is not going to be a huge problem going forward because Deontay Hardy is still attending minicamp. So I'm sure there's still a few months before the Saints even play a game, and there's a couple months before preseason. So I'm sure a contract will get worked out eventually, and I would expect him to be on the team next year and going forward. But he will be at mandatory minicamp, and contract situation is still going through, so nothing to panic about just yet. So that's the first part I wanted to mention was Deontay Hardy's contract situation. Now, y'all remember when I hinted at a possible free agent signing coming up. Current free agent running back David Johnson, who we all know was in the infamous D-Hop trade that was just stupid because it was, D-Hop and maybe a second and fourth rounder? Is that what it was? Second and fourth rounder and David Johnson, one of the most dumbest trades in recent history that led to Bill O'Brien's firing and the current dumpster fire of an organization that right now is the Houston Texans. Not to take away from David Johnson, he's a pretty solid running back I'm about to go into. He visited the New Orleans Saints today, and this is a possible free agent running back signing that we could have, which is kind of a big deal because we don't know how Alvin Kamara suspension is going to go because we all know about his legal situation that hasn't been sorted out just yet. We'll know more going forward. But David Johnson did visit New Orleans Saints. We've seen the Saints try to hit at a possible running back signing. I believe we saw Sonny Michel visit the Saints, and that didn't work out because I don't remember who he went. He might have went to the Dolphins. I'm not sure what team he went to. And then we saw Darrell Williams, former Chiefs and LSU running back, visit the Saints, and they also didn't sign him. And we're not sure what's going to happen at that running back spot. Obviously, right now we have Mark Ingram, who we traded for from the Houston Texans last season. We have Tony Jones in there. We don't have Ty Montgomery in there anymore because he went to the Patriots. We have Tony Jones, who the Saints like at running back, but I'm not sure they like him enough if Alvin Kamara's out to feature them in the main backfield. While Alvin Kamara was out this year, you saw mostly Mark Ingram in the backfield, but we also had that game where Mark Ingram and Alvin Kamara were out, and it was pretty much Tony Jones, and that went to shit. I believe that was the Buffalo Bills game, which was just one of the most offensive disasters I've ever seen, except maybe the Ian Book game, but neither one of those games we're going to discuss. Now, David Johnson, I'm not sure how much he has left in the tank. I think he's kind of getting up there in age. I haven't really done much research before recording this video because I'm kind of just talking here. I'm kind of just winging this, making this a short and sweet video. But David Johnson, we all remember him on the Cardinals. He had that crazy 2016 season. Now, he obviously hasn't really matched that at all. But even on the Texans, he's shown that he can be a solid running back. And I think if he's not a primary running back, if he's like a number 2 or a number 3, he can be solid for us. And you probably see David Johnson have that Alvin Kamara type role if he does sign with us and Alvin Kamara's out. Because if Alvin Kamara's out, it's not going to be just Mark Ingram. He's too old for that. You're just not going to see Mark Ingram have 20 carries and 10 receptions a game while Kamara's out. It's probably going to be half Mark Ingram, half David Johnson. And you're probably going to see David Johnson in that receiving role if this does happen. If Alvin Kamara gets suspended, you'll see him in the screen game. You'll see him out of the backfield a lot. Now, Mark Ingram can catch out of the backfield too, so let's not forget about that. He had a big game against Tennessee, especially out of the backfield. Hey, David Johnson is visiting the Saints, and this is something to note because he'd be a solid number 2 or number 3 running back for us if this is needed, so we'll see how that goes. As of right now, I'm not sure if anything has been finalized just yet because, like I said, I'm recording this on Monday night. I plan on getting this out on Tuesday, so we'll see what happens. But I do think David Johnson would be a solid signing. Obviously, I think he'd be pretty cheap because he's a free agent in the middle of June, so obviously he wouldn't cost that much money. But if we can get him for the right price, like probably a 1-year contract worth just a couple $1 million, that'd be a solid signing for the Saints. Now, one more thing I want to talk about. This is big. Obviously, we know that New Orleans has been injured to death last year. And a huge part of that was not only Michael Thomas, but Saints kicker Will Lutz. You saw the Saints have 4 different kickers last year, including Aldrick Rosas, the first kicker from weeks 1 through 5 or something. The Saints signed Cody Parkey for a game. He didn't kick a field goal, but he missed 2 extra points, so he was gone that fast. We all remember Cody Parkey from the double doink from Chicago. He's never been able to recover since then. Brian Johnson, who's actually solid for a little bit because he kicked the game winner against Seattle, even though it was like 30 yards, but still a game winner. And you saw him be pretty solid for a couple games until that disaster against Tennessee, which cost us the game. And that was a big reason that we didn't make the playoffs. Just that one win could have been all the difference in the world. If the Saints had a kicker last year, they would have been 11-6. Because they went down at 8. They would have been 11-6 if they had Will Lutz. Because Will Lutz makes those 2 extra points, and the Saints do beat the Tennessee Titans with Will Lutz. Another game they probably would have won if they had a kicker was the Giants game, because Aldrick Rosas did miss a field goal in that game too. So that's 2 wins. That's 11-6. And they're literally in the playoffs, as injured as they were. So that's crazy. And they also had Brett Maher for a while, who was actually the Saints' best kicker out of those 4 kickers. Now, that's not saying much because those 4 kickers were terrible. And Brett Maher actually did have some pretty good games later on in the season, but he's not Will Lutz. He's not remotely close to Will Lutz. We know what Will Lutz can do. He made a Pro Bowl, in fact, in 2019, I believe. But Will Lutz has been officially cleared to participate in football activities, including mandatory minicamp, I'm pretty sure, as well as training camp. He will be back this season. It's official, and that's big because the Saints actually have a kicker now. That's insane. We all know what Will Lutz can do. One of his most iconic moments was that 58-yard game-winning field goal against the Texans on Monday Night Football. He's clutch. He's known as Big Nuts Lutz for a reason. He's made some big game winners. I'm not sure when his last game winner was. He had a couple of game winners in 2020. He had one against the Chicago Bears, I think, most recently. He had a couple in 2019. He's made some big field goals. He makes consistent 50-plus yard field goals, and he's just always been good. Now, the last time we saw Will Lutz, I believe at the end of the 2020 season, which was the last season he played, we saw him kind of fall off a little bit towards the end of the season. Now, there was a possible injury he might have sustained there, but we all know what Will Lutz can do when he's healthy. And when the Saints have a kicker, obviously, I think we all underestimated how important the kicker position is in the NFL, because although we intend on scoring pretty much only touchdowns this year with our new revamped offense, we still need a kicker just in case we need to make a 30-yard field goal for the win or just set up for a field goal. You can kick 3 points. Because last year, they just wasn't getting it done. We were consistently missing extra points. We were consistently missing short field goals and must-have field goals in games. So you won't see that anymore because now we have Will Lutz. So, yeah, that's pretty much it for this video. Talked about those 3 main things I wanted to discuss. I'm sure I'll make another video once mandatory minicamp is over regarding who attends. I'm sure we'll talk about Alvin Kamara. Maybe we'll know more about his legal situation and whether or not he shows up for minicamp. And if anyone shines at minicamp, I'll let you guys know. But yeah, that's pretty much it for this video. Thank y'all for watching. Like I said, I made it short and sweet. Pretty much hit on every key piece I want to talk about. Let me know what you guys think. What do you guys think of a possible free agent running back signing of David Johnson? If you want to see David Johnson, who do you want to see the Saints sign? What free agents would you like to see the Saints sign? Even OBJ. I made a separate video about OBJ a few weeks ago, but would you want to see the Saints sign OBJ? Who do you want the Saints to sign? Let me know what you guys think, and see you guys in the next video.